I'm using up these old 2x4s that have been lying around the shop for a while, and I start by cutting all the parts out on the miter saw to rough length. I then like to take all the parts for each section and cut them all to length at the same time on my cutoff sled. Seem to get a lot better results that way, especially as far as getting each one of them the same length. You could use a stop block on the miter saw, I guess, but I just seem to prefer this method. I started out by building the upper and lower inside frames first, and I just put those together with pocket holes. I'm doubling up all the parts on the outfeed table, sort of a poor man's half lap system, partially for rigidity and also to give it a little bit of weight so it's not so easy to move around the shop. And I attached the two outside 2x4s to the frames using countersunk screws and glue. This is the point where I realized I'd forgotten to drill the pocket holes in the frames themselves to be able to attach the top, so I had to go back and do that. And then here I'm just cutting down some 2x10s that I had to make the supports for the upper and lower shelf. I attached the support using countersunk screws from the outside 2x4s, and I also made a couple of cleats out of some 3/4 inch plywood that I also drilled pocket holes in to attach the shelf on the bottom because it was going to be inset of the bottom. I laid the top on my table saw to attach the legs to because I figured that was the best flat spot that I had in the shop to be able to build it off of, and to try to make sure that I could get all the legs on there as square as possible. I attached these small little blocks to the bottom of the legs to be able to hold the lower shelf up off the floor high enough so that my dust collection from my table saw could still slide underneath. I flipped the table over on its side to attach the bottom shelf, just using some screws. For the 2x4s that go across the front, I cut each one of those to fit, and I just laminated those with glue. I didn't really feel the need to add any sort of fasteners or anything to them, as I pretty much figured the glue should be strong enough. And here I'm just adding the inside vertical supports, just using glue and a few screws. I cut the bottom out first, and as you can see here, I was too lazy to hook up the dust collection. That's why you see dust flying everywhere. And I just attached it with the pocket screws that I drilled earlier. I had to add a couple of 2x4s to the inside of the legs on both sides so that I'd have a place to attach the casters to. For the first layer of the top, I used a piece of 3/4 inch plywood that I had lying around. I attached it to the cart using the pocket screws that I drilled earlier. The second layer is going to be this 3/4 inch MDF that you just watched me cut. I cut it slightly oversized so that once the glue dries, I can go back and trim the excess off flush with my router. For the glue, I found it to be easy enough just to pour it out of the bottle itself, and I got one of those little Rockler glue spreaders that work really well for being able to spread the glue around. I tried to find as much heavy stuff as I could find in the shop to be able to stack on the MDF on the top, and I used my bar clamps. You can also see here that I need to come up with some sort of dust collection for this router. That MDF dust was flying everywhere. So this is definitely one of those projects I should have built a long time ago. It's going to give me a nice flat work surface to build things off of, as well as a little bit of support for the things I cut on my table saw. And it has a decent amount of room to store a lot of the crap I have kicking around my shop all the time. So maybe with a little better organization under there and a place to work off of instead of working on my saw all the time, it'll make things a little nicer. If you liked the video, be sure to like, share, and comment. You can also subscribe if you haven't already. You can check us out on all the social media websites, as well as our website at lanebrotherswoodshop.com. There'll be links to all this in the description down below. So that's all I got for you this time, guys. Happy trails. Thanks for watching.